But as we move on to the next topic here, Zach, I'm actually going to read this one because I have a lot to say about this, and I'm going to pass it to y'all. Urban Meyer is set to sign Tebow as tight end. Also says Travis Etienne will work out as a wide receiver at the Jaguars minicamp. I'm guessing being a Percy Harvin type of dude. What should we think about Urban Meyer's moves as head coach so far? And I'm going to just say this real quickly, and I'm going to pass the rock. I remember last week we had our show where we talked about our top 3 most improved teams this offseason. I actually had the Jaguars number 1, and it's not because I think the Jaguars is automatically going to make the playoffs next year and be a contender and win their division, the AFC South. It's because on paper, with the additions, I think that they have guys that they can plug in and play and help that team get better. Now, I didn't take into consideration the coaching and how Urban Meyer is going to experiment with that team. And I said it may work out, it may not, but on paper they got better. Now, with the news about Tim Tebow, I have a few things to say about it. Listen, I speak my mind, and I think a lot of people that watch this show, they like the fact that I'm always honest and I'm always respectable. I respect a lot of coaches around the world, and I say, I have my takes, but I also say, give me a take so we can sit here and dialogue as men. And one of the things that I dislike about the Tim Tebow thing, and I'm kind of like torn, I'm kind of mutual, because I really feel like it shows you the example that the NFL didn't really mean it when they said that they were sorry to Colin Kaepernick, because Colin Kaepernick actually was in the league longer than Tebow, and we already know why he wasn't, why he's not on the roster right now, and those are definitely politics involved. But I just think with Urban Meyer, there's a lot of questionable moves. I like Tebow as a person. I don't want to bring him into a situation where he's getting a job, he's getting a payday, and I'm over here questioning that. I just want there to be more fairness. And as far as the moves with Urban Meyer, I think that, look, I'm going to give him his opportunity to show us what he can do, because it's one thing to do something and nobody agrees with you or saying that you're going to mess up. But it's another thing to know and have a vision of what you want to do. So I'm going to give Urban Meyer a chance. But I really do feel like Colin Kaepernick should have had an opportunity. And I just don't like the message that signing Tim Tebow is sending.
Isaiah?
I agree 100%, man. I personally, I don't think Tebow should have got signed. Even if you look at it as a football player standpoint, he had a subpar, I would say, and that's probably being generous, NFL career. He was an amazing collegiate athlete, and we understand that. And we also understand that, he played well in Florida, like extremely well in Florida. He was the highlight of almost every ESPN show that came on a daily basis. But I think, I don't know if Urban Meyer is just looking at Tebow and say, I want to give this man another shot because he deserves it or whatever. But I don't see why you bring back Tebow. And then on top of that, on top of already drafting Lawrence, I don't see why you put Tebow as a tight end. I just don't see what he does. I don't know if he's seen him block a lineman before, and it's like, yeah, he could do this on a daily basis. I don't really see why you bring in a guy like Tebow to fill in a tight end role. And I also don't know if that's a good thing to do as a first year as a coach, to bring Tim Tebow into your locker room. I don't know if that's a smart locker room choice or move. This team is going to be interesting to watch throughout the season because there's going to be a lot of experiments that Urban Meyer is willing to do. His coaching record, of course, you have to respect it. 187-32, 12-3 in bowl games. He's a respected coach on any level. But it's going to be a lot of work now, even without the record. I mean, with the record, it's going to be a lot of work to get that locker room behind you and say, I trust you and I trust the moves you're making.
All right, so Will, it's funny how I'm going to start out the same way you did when you said last week on this show you named the Jaguars your most improved team, and it's funny because I wanted to agree. I like a lot of the moves the Jaguars have made, but at the same time, I did think to myself, it is hard for a college coach to come into the NFL and to have success. Nick Saban, for God's sakes, couldn't win in the NFL. Chip Kelly, we've seen plenty of other examples of college head coaches come into the NFL where it doesn't work. But I thought with Urban Meyer gifted Trevor Lawrence, one of the best quarterback prospects I've ever seen, maybe this could work. But then he brings in Tim Tebow as his tight end. The question is, what is the risk reward here? Like, if Tim Tebow as a tight end works, how is that going to improve your football team? Now, they drafted Travis Etienne. Now, I am a guy who's been very, very stern on the statement. If you draft a running back in the first round, that's fine, but you better not have other holes, because kind of like when the Cowboys drafted Ezekiel Elliott, I had no problem with that pick because they were ready to win in that position. But the Jaguars won what, 2 games last year, 1 game? Why are they drafting a running back when they had James Robinson out here, one of the biggest surprises in the league? And when it comes to Urban Meyer, I thought John Gruden was a head coach transformed as a reality TV star. Why is this guy trying to reinvent the wheel? This guy hasn't even coached a game yet. I have no confidence in this guy who's coming in right away and putting Tim Tebow, a guy who, if he called me up and said, I want to play tight end, I would have said, for my alumni team, my high school alumni team, like, this dude just got out of AAA baseball. Why should he be anywhere near an NFL team right now? And I agree with Lil when he says, he's a great guy. I love what he's done in the community. He obviously had a great career in Florida, but Urban Meyer, like, do you want to just show a little more favoritism? Travis Etienne, you drafted him in the first round. Why? Because he would take the ball from Trevor Lawrence and make defenders miss and be a very good running back. You're going to play him at wide receiver. If I'm any opposing team's defensive coordinator, I would take that matchup any day of the week. And when you're a rookie coach and you're trying to reinvent the wheel, it usually doesn't work. So once again, I wanted to believe in this Jaguar team and what they were doing, especially when you consider the fact that Urban Meyer, a very good college coach who was gifted a special talent in Trevor Lawrence. But I've just seen this movie way too many times before, and I have absolutely no confidence in the Jaguars right now.
I don't think anyone has confidence in the Jaguars, and unfortunately, and it stinks because when Urban Meyer first got hired, I asked my friends. That's the first thing I asked. I said, "What do you think about the move?" They said, "Listen, this man has won a lot of games, not just even regular coaching season. Like, he won a lot of bowl games. This guy, you have to trust him." And I'm like, okay, I guess, right? Like, I don't really know what to say beyond that.
He hasn't even been an NFL assistant coach. He's never been on an NFL staff. What tells me that he's going to be able to go into the league? And when he's making moves like this, why should I have any confidence?
Correct. And that's our initial reaction. Why should I have any confidence? You're bringing a quarterback who couldn't throw into the league to play tight end. Like, that's like questionable. That's extremely questionable.
But your first move as what is the first move you're going to do as Jaguars coach? Bring in Tim Tebow as your tight end. Good luck.
I don't understand it, man.
And I would just add on to this, man. If you're Urban Meyer, it's like, I want to side with you. I want to see what you're doing. I don't like criticizing people when you have 1,000 people criticizing people. I'm not that type of guy. I don't like to, everybody is stoning somebody and I come with a stone and like, all right, let me finish the job. No, I don't like doing that. But it's when you drive Travis Etienne, right, who I thought they was going to use as a 2-1 back punch, a 1-2 punch. I didn't dislike the move. I know you dislike the moves. I didn't dislike it. I'm like, all right, that's more help for Trevor Lawrence. You run the football, play action. You have 2 running backs. So the wheels doesn't come off. You still have another guy. And we saw how that worked with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Fournette and Ronald Jones. When one wheels was coming off, Fournette was able to take that extra load in the playoffs. So I was fine with that. But when you put him at wide receiver and you take Tebow off the couch and you say, you know what, you're going to be a tight end, I just think that, man, in this world, there's no such thing as, there is such thing as friends. But at the end of the day, business is business. And I don't like what he said. And I think he's trying to, be friends. I'm surprised he didn't draft Justin Fields. I told you that was probably going to be a slight possibility because the way how he was thinking. And then you think about the questionable hire that he made when he hired that strength and conditioning coach from Iowa. He got backlash from it. So I think Urban Meyer right now, I think he's going to have a rude awakening in the NFL for sure.
All of the stories that you just mentioned, spot on. This guy hasn't even coached a game yet. Like, just imagine when he starts coaching, what's going to happen. No confidence.
Yeah, I think you, the fans, and also maybe even his locker room, no confidence in him, and that's a terrible way to start off any organization. Oh, man. It's like, yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Like, I just want to ask, like, an Ohio State fan or a Florida fan, like, what is this guy doing? I want to know, what is he doing? Like, I understand, like, why you have confidence, but based on his college track record, but this is a brand new ball game. Like in college, you could win based on your skills as a recruiter. You could build relationships in these schools of high school families. But in the NFL, it is an even playing ground. All these guys are making money, and that is a locker room of 47 to 53 grown men who are ultra competitive, all for the same thing. And we know we've heard our fair share of stories of crazy stuff that's happened in NFL locker rooms before with a rookie head coach. We'll see what ends up going down.
And I'm worried about Urban Meyer because let's not forget Urban Meyer had health issues. That's the reason why he had to retire a couple times in college. So if you're making moves like this, you're getting backlash for it. You can sit here and say you don't listen to sports talk radio. We know damn well you do. And we know that you're hearing the backlash you getting for the Tim Tebow hire.
Right.
Well, you know the backlash you was getting before. Go ahead.
I'll mention one other one. How about the Zach Smith scandal at Ohio State? You know, like no one's bringing that up either. That's another. You know, look at that Florida Gator team that won a national championship with Riley Cooper on that team, Aaron Hernandez on that team, Percy Harvin. Like look at what all those guys ended up becoming, man. So it's gonna be that's been a criticism of Urban Meyer in the past.
Shoot.
Does he?
I won't be surprised if he gave OJ a job. I mean, that's the way how he's doing it right now. You feel me? So, you know, criminals, anybody. You know, you have a roster on my team if you can play, or if there's some mutual connection. So I think that Urban Meyer, man, I hope it works out. I'm not praying on his downfall. I don't want nobody listening to the show thinking I want to see him fail. I want to see him prevail. But the moves that he's making, man, he got to send that away in the mail. I'm not buying it.
Honestly, I don't think right now no fans are buying it, and it's just he's gonna have to show us. And these moves are so horrendous. At this point, you have to say, let's see what happens, because it is disgusting. Like no analytic person in the world could sit here and say, yeah, these moves make sense. These are gonna help us win. I feel like this is very reminiscent to Moneyball from Athletics, the movie. Like when you just watch all the Athletics, all these like weird players, put them on a roster, and they started excelling. Is like that's the feel I'm getting, and I'm hope I'm right. But these moves are nasty.